cut from the release, but did not specify which one. The film
Grindr date murder.
Christmas Eve has been found dead, and a man is under arrest in connection to the murder.
House vote to limit Trump.
The U.S. will retaliate, and we quote here, perhaps in a disproportionate manner. That prompted
Gay Jesus producers fireball. It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest host, Requel Lopes. With your host, lifestyle expert Napoleon Plain. Trans activist Aaron Phoenix. Reality TV star Chef Josie. DJ Diva Power Infinity. And our moderator, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, good evening, America. I know this is hard to believe, but it is a new year. It is a new decade, and we are live. Yes, America, we're live. Everybody say we're live.
We're live. We're alive.
We're figuring out our afterlife.
Right.
We're live and in the land of the living.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 3rd, January 8th. We are live, America and world. Welcome to It's Happening Out, the most popular live gay talk show in the world. My goodness, it seems like forever since I've seen you, and I've been so happy.
The world has turned about 800 times in the time since we've last seen.
Yeah. Has anything happened since the last time we've been together?
I think we're going to get right into that.
Howard, anything happen? Yeah, right. Well, so welcome to It's Happening Out. We have a great show for you tonight. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Lots of interesting things. We are broadcasting a new historic partnership. Actually, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. We're coming from Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, affectionately, as we say, the gayest place on planet Earth. And you're going to find out over the course of the time tonight at It's Happening Out, this is the gayest panel on planet Earth.
Oh
so we're going to prove
Take that with honor. Thank you very much.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Girl, hey,
all right.
And we're also broadcasting from our new home here at the World AIDS Museum and Educational Center in Wilton Manors. So that's very exciting, huh? A great place to start off the new year.
Pretty cool. And of course, host of It's Happening Out, stay at the Best Western on I-95 and Commercial, where they treat us with royalty.
Royalty.
All the royalty.
So you're down here from Central Florida. What's your room number for tonight?
6.
Back seat, windows up.
Okay. With 6 sex.
Exactly. And we thank you, America. As many 500 to 600,000 of you a week watch our show. We thank you very much. We accomplish that because you share us. Napoleon, tell us a little about that.
That is right, everybody. We want to make sure that you do like we did at the table and share this party. You want to like, you want to subscribe, and you want to start a watch party. It's super simple on Facebook, and just watch this video to figure it out.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
All right, so I mean, that's all there is to it. Like us, even if you hate us. Share us with your friends or your enemies. And make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe to us there, too. YouTube/It's Happening Out. They're revamping it. It looks awesome.
When you said enemies, you looked right at me. What was that all about?
That was a Freudian slip.
This is something right here. I feel the energy between you two.
Way to start off the new year.
Now, a couple of housekeeping notes. First off, we have a special guest host with us tonight, and that's Requel Lopes. Welcome, Requel.
Well,
Thank you. I'm so
Raquel
happy to
is
be
the
here.
executive
Welcome.
director of the World AIDS Museum. It's right here on world famous Wilton Drive in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors, Broward County, South Florida. Did I give enough IDs?
I know.
And we are doing this interesting collaborative project where It's Happening Out is broadcasting right in the middle of the World AIDS Museum on this new set. That's right in the heart of the museum. You obviously, America, we look different. I look refreshed and excited, and everybody else.
That's a perspective someone
Wait.
could have.
Well, I certainly look
I was
different.
going to say, right. So, Raquel, tell us a little bit about your impression of doing this exciting new project.
I think it is exciting. I have enjoyed the whole week. This is going to be a memorable experience that I look forward to sharing with you guys. I'm excited to be on this show today.
Yeah. On Monday, January 6th, we launched the framing of our new brand that we are all supporting called the Happening Out television network. And there's 3 shows currently. We're going to tell you a little bit about that in a moment. And It's Happening Out is our anchor on Wednesday night, the most popular in the world. Before we move into our show, let me make a little housekeeping note. As you can see from our opening and tonight, Joe Brookman is no longer associated with It's Happening Out. Press release went out this morning indicating over the last show of the year there was an altercation, and while the impeachment vote was going on, and Joe Brookman threw a mic pack at the host table. Power in his cat-like reflexes,
Protected
basically
all of us. Thank you, Power.
deflected it, and the executive producer at It's Happening Out made the decision to
Impeach him?
Impeach, to
removal.
separate arrangements.
So,
So,
as a matter of fact, Jerry Curry, run it back.
Well, and that means that there's an open casting call for a log cabin Republican who has enough guts to enter and sit at the table with this, table of maniacs.
Use their words.
Yeah.
And
We
they're
We do want to hear it.
They're
'cause
absolutely
it's
welcome.
important.
They're absolutely welcome.
Absolutely.
in fact, next week, America, the hosts don't know this yet. We're going to talk about it in a special that we're doing next week. But we have not only one, but we have 2 Republicans joining us next week on the show.
That should be wonderful.
Me and
They
Aaron
don't bother
we're
me.
coming out as Republicans.
How fabulous.
Third coming out.
One has
they
a
don't
Twitter
bother me.
following of 400,000, and the other runs a very powerful Republican interest group for people in Miami-Dade County that run for office. And we said, are you sure 2 was enough? And they said, to deal with this panel, 2 is plenty. So next
Takes 2
week,
of them to make one of
it's
us.
right, exactly. So it's going to be a lot of fun in terms of what we do. We wish Joe Brookman the best of luck in everything that he does. All right, so let's move into the show. First off, we are now on Monday nights at the Happening Out TV network. We are doing a fun show. And it's really important because after I sit with these people, we have to do something a little more
I was
entertaining.
going to say,
and
fun as opposed to this.
I'm his on-air co-host for that show, so you're welcome to see me every Monday. And actually, everybody, we actually do have fun together occasionally.
It's called Happening.Fun. It broadcasts at 8 o'clock, and let us show you a little sample of what's going on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Watch this, live.
Tonight, only on Happening.Fun. We are attractions. We are casino events. We are nightlife. We are festivals. We are concerts. We are Florida events. We are movies. We are sports. We are live performance. With your host, Napoleon Plays. With your moderator, Al Ferguson. Celebrities and interviews. Trevor Noah, Loud and Clear Tour 2020. Let's plan ahead. Village People 40th Anniversary Tour. Out and About. HRC South Florida 2020 Dinner and Silent Auction. Around Florida. Florida Strawberry Festival. The Fun 5 Air Supply with special guest Poco. Gatsby's Speakeasy Salon. It's all happening tonight on South Florida's most popular live source for things to fun. Only on Happening.Fun.
Well, that's our new entertainment show, Monday nights at 8 o'clock, part of the Happening Out television network. And we have launched the world's first live daily gay evening news. A mouthful that I'm having
a lot of
difficulty
labels
with.
going
It's
on,
a lot of labels there. But NBC is there and Fox News is there. And we thought, wow, there should be something for LGBT. Yeah. And anchor Napoleon Plays and myself and Aaron Darr launched on Monday night. We only did our third show tonight. It is daily at 7 p.m. And last night was quite exciting if you missed it because we were on air live when Iran launched the attack against the U.S. Air Base in Iraq. And we talk about all kinds of things for the LGBT community. Let us show you a little sample of what is going on there at Q News tonight. Watch this. Well, it's quite exciting. The first live daily gay evening news in the entire world.
Looks
it's never
fancy.
been done before. And we're going to explore the entire LGBTQ world. Very important because we make the point that 2020 is likely the most important year of our lives. And Q News tonight will be right there documenting it every step of the way. All right. Are we ready to move into the show?
Yeah.
And let's talk about what's going to be fun.
We were going to start.
All right. So we always begin our show. We did it in 19. We're doing it in 2020, and that is the meme of the week. We show you the meme of the week, and we're going to show that to you now. Yeah, there it is. It's been very popular. The Pope slapping down over the holiday. What do y'all think?
Man.
The meme of the week? Any reactions?
I'm really hoping to leave that meme back in 2019.
Right? Yeah, it's
I
a
thought
little
it was
played
a
out.
brilliant moment. It's, and I don't even know what she was saying to him, but
She held him.
Yeah, she held
his
him,
hand.
and she was saying something to him.
Yeah.
I really would have.
And also the woman,
Right?
the woman that's in the show from Real Housewives was going through an extreme statement about emotional abuse when that picture was taken. That's become the cultural meme of the last years. So that's why every time we see that, I'm like, oh, okay, we're making fun of someone who's gone emotional abuse.
Thanks for
physical
taking
abuse.
us to that dark place.
I
Nicole.
know.
That's the goal.
God.
Hey, you
Welcome
were here
to
last show. I had to
2020.
do it, Aaron.
Exactly. Wait, Aaron, you've forgotten who Napoleon Plays is?
Well, it's
Yeah.
all right. I was busy being balls deep in holiday spirit, so someone had to pick up the...
Whoa!
Hey,
No, we
Okay.
switched roles, everybody. I'll be the
All right.
dark emo kid.
I
and
know.
you'll be the
Tonight,
psycho
playing the
fanatic.
role of
Listen,
Aaron Phoenix,
I was-
Napoleon Plays.
I
All
was so
right.
happy to give you a toothache.
Yeah, all right. Let's and we're off. All right, let's move out of the meme into the best thing of the week. And this is the best thing of the week. Now, this one is not like we normally do of showing you something in sound. This is what we call a talkover video. And this is about a New Year's fitness resolution of a cute bear doing Zumba.
Oh, yeah.
So let's
Cute does not describe him. Flat out
right?
sexual.
Let's
You can see that
People,
bulge
the
right there.
movies,
Thrust
it's
it.
well.
Thrust
Hey,
it.
we work out
Oh
at
my
the
God.
same gym. I don't think I've seen this guy there. I was just looking at a Zumba class the
Yeah.
other day.
Hey,
I want to be at that Zumba class.
Josie.
That Zumba
Josie
was
has-
at the pole dance thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Hey,
Little
look at
column A,
that.
little column B.
Hey,
Is anybody else
he's
getting a
moving
little
better than everyone.
I've been away from y'all for too long because when you said cute bear, I thought this was going to be like a dancing teddy bear. Or something. Not what I expected at all.
Oh, come on.
No,
He's got
no,
a very
no.
attractive face.
I think he's
Oh, my.
performed
Napoleon.
before.
You good?
Are we talking about
I
something?
mean, he's really taking it to another level, though. I mean,
Yeah.
look at everyone else in the class.
He's a really good
He's
dancer.
going level 10. Everyone else is going about level 10.
Well, the reason you haven't seen him at your gym is because he's probably on tour right now.
His isolation movements are incredible. He's a really skilled dancer.
He'll be dancing in Power Infinity's next production.
Yes, exactly. I think we've objectified him enough, so we will move on. We're going to move into happening now, our breaking news. There are several, of course, important news stories going on at the moment. The first is President Trump's news conference today. As you know, the president approved the assassination of General Soleimani in Iraq earlier in the week. And yesterday, live, while Q News was on the air, Iran attacked with 12 missiles the U.S. air base outside of Baghdad. And today, President Trump did an address to the nation. And we have that for you. Watch this.
Iran must abandon its nuclear ambitions and end its support for terrorism. The time has come for the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Russia, and China to recognize this reality. They must now break away from the remnants of the Iran deal, or JCPOA. And we must all work together toward making a deal with Iran that makes the world a safer and more peaceful place. We must also make a deal that allows Iran to thrive and prosper and take advantage of its enormous untapped potential. Iran can be a great country. Peace and stability cannot prevail in the Middle East as long as Iran continues to foment violence, unrest, hatred, and war. The civilized world must send a clear and unified message to the Iranian regime. Your campaign of terror, murder, mayhem will not be tolerated any longer. It will not be allowed to go forward.
Well, that was our president's comments today at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. He was 23 minutes late. I point out to you one interesting thing that happened on one of the Fox streams is because he was so late, people that were participating in the string started to say that the president wasn't able to come to the podium because Iran had launched new missiles. Now, of course, that turned out to be not true, but people started buying into it left and right. It was an indication to me that this is a very perilous time. We're sitting on the edge of our anxiety. What do y'all think of the last couple of days in terms of what's going on with Iran and the president and leading up to his news conference today?
Obviously, what you just described, he's clearly Madonna. They're the same person. They just have to show up at an hour late, 2 hours late. It's parallel. How they treat people, at least, is parallel.
Okay, and back to Iran. What
Right.
do you think of,
Jump in faster, panelists. Come on, don't have your holiday eggnog in your brain.
I just don't even know where to begin with this, because on the one hand, I am not mourning the loss of this general that was killed. I have always been, unlike a lot of my Democratic friends and my fellow Democrats, I've been a little more hawkish and a little bit more non-tolerant of our enemies. So I have been very pro-military, and usually I would be all for this move, but for the fact that it is being made by somebody that I feel is absolutely incompetent, is a liar, and I can't trust anything that comes out of this administration. I think, as I posted today, that if Trump really wants to destroy Iran, all he has to do is become their president, and that would do it.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
You know, I really don't know where my feelings lie with this.
Where do y'all think all of this is going? We reported last night in Q News Tonight, one of the anchors, Aaron Dar, got very emotional, right on the edge, because of fear. And I asked a follow-up question about, are you fearful? Yeah. And he said yes. And he thought that the LGBTQ community was fearful at these perilous times that we're at. Where's all of this going to go?
So, it's interesting that you say that, because Marcy sent me a text, and my wife, she sent me a text last night, and she says, I'm nervous when the bombs were going off and we were, engaged. And she said to me, I'm nervous, I'm scared. And for my wife to say that is kind of like, well, she goes, "Did you see the news?" And I go, I've seen it. I told her this. I said, "Babe, we just need to lay low right now, continue to spread love, and go get a gun." And that's
Right.
You said
Word.
I sure did. And I don't own a gun.
my heart sinks at this moment.
Yeah.
It sinks.
It's time.
I don't own a gun. I've never owned a gun. I don't have anything against guns, but I just never wanted them in my space. But we're in a very, you said it, perilous time, and this moment is sensitive, and he's all of this is creating a tension and energy. It's going to energize his base because everyone's stepping behind him. It's taking the Democrats and turning them into a frenzied group of people who are not thinking clearly. It's just polarizing what is already happening.
That's exactly what he wants. I
Exactly.
bet this or some equivalent has been planned since 2015 when he decided out loud to run for office. He has had this in his back pocket from the beginning that it's election year, we're 9 months away. He's pulled a lot of stunts in the last 4 years, and so he's going to have this card where, we're going to war. Now you have to reelect me. Now you have to have me not just reelected, but in my dynasty as I not just run for a third term, which has been stated colloquially among his administration.
Yeah.
But in callousness, okay, I'm going to be your ruler. Well, I'm not the ruler, you're the ruler. Quotation from him. Well, guess what? He's about to be not just our president, he's about to be our king because he's going to enact martial law and he's going to be the king or the czar of America.
I don't believe that, but I do think that he has taken he's taken a page out of his conspiracy theory playbook that he accused Obama of doing a few years ago when he said, for Obama to win re-election, he's going to start a war with Iran. He did the exact same thing. But I'm not really scared. I'll tell you when I do start to really get scared. I think that we have taken 10 steps back when it comes to our negotiations with Iran and armament treaties.
Understatement.
I think that Iran now is going to ramp up, and this is giving them all the more incentive for ramping up their nuclear armament. And when Iran does get to that point where they do acquire nuclear weapons, that's when I'll get scared.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'll get scared.
Well, I mean, I was listening to
Aaron,
NPR yesterday in an interview with the leader of Iran. And he was basically saying flat out, if we wanted to build a nuclear bomb, we would have done it a long time ago. And I can't say I don't believe him. You know what I mean? This is one of those things where we don't know what to believe. This was an assassination. And that's incredibly serious. And to not have a plan for a next step is terrifying.
Yeah.
And, I'll say it again. This is Trump's biggest weapon of mass distraction. We are all focused on this, and we're not, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's right and wrong. We don't know what crimes did he commit, what he didn't. Everything is confusing right now.
I think your observation is an absolute bullseye of whether you think that this is a big moment or not. I had a very good friend of mine that works for production that was in Cuba while all of this was going on. And one text came in and said, the news here is just shocking what's being said. And another text was, people are really disappointed about America and what's going on in America. The perspective or the reaction around the world, of course, I wasn't in Europe this week, but the reaction must be shocking in terms of what's going on.
Can I do a quick flash poll here? Is anyone at this table ashamed of the U.S. and Trump's actions in this way?
Daily.
Well, in this specific regard
So a yes or no?
Yes.
Flash poll?
I don't know if ashamed is the word, but embarrassed, yeah.
Ashamed or embarrassed? Yes?
Yes.
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 Okay, well, that's where we are. He has done a national address today. Some estimates reported that 50 million people watched the news conference.
He didn't take his eyes off that teleprompter once, but I didn't know he could read. So
That's some competence level now.
All right, let's try to lighten it up a little bit because we have scared the crap out of a guest that we have here with us tonight.
Welcome.
And I want to introduce Dr. Stephen Smith with us. Stephen Smith is here and the owner of Vegan Fine Foods. And Stephen, good evening and welcome to It's Happening Out.
Thank you.
Stephen is with us because next week we're going to make a road trip. Now, we've just come to the World AIDS Museum as our host for 2020, and we're going to leave just as quickly. We're going to go to this very fascinating place called Vegan Fine Foods in downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Finally, I'm going to get to eat on one of these segments.
I was going to say.
Yes. And it's great.
We're flying in a real iguana just for you.
Exactly. Right.
Traumatized.
Exactly. So next week we're going to be at Vegan Fine Foods, and Stephen has a cafe in the middle of a grocery store, basically, and he's going to correct me in whatever I say. I stumbled into it by accident.
As with most things.
And exactly.
It's a year of health for Al. That's the best place that he could possibly be.
That's right. And
delicious,
I was fascinated walking down the aisles of all of these fantastic foods. And
you've never been grocery shopping before?
He usually
Stephen, we'll do the best we can. But welcome to It's Happening Out here with this friend. Tell us a little bit. Yes, absolutely. Welcome to It's Happening Out.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the restaurant, your cafe and the grocery store. What's the philosophy behind it that you created?
So basically, I was trying to create like a one-stop shop for vegans. So, I've been a vegan for a long time, and it's been very difficult. Things have changed a lot in the last few years. But, I've been a vegan for over 20 years, and I always imagined a place where vegans could go and shop and not worry about reading the labels and seeing what's in there, and also to be able to sit down and have a nice meal.
That's my fetish, actually. Like, that's what I'm into, is being able to not have to read labels and just know I can eat it.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes. So it just makes life a lot easier. So that was really the concept behind Vegan Fine Foods.
Do you consider yourself a grocery store? How do you define you have a niche, a brand. How do you define yourself?
What's your label?
I define us as a market. So we're a vegan market.
A market.
So when you go to a market, whether it's a farmer's market or markets around the world, you have a variety of things going on, right? So you can find really interesting products, whether they're food products or sometimes T-shirts or jewelry.
Some hemp bracelets, yeah.
Sit down and have a glass of wine and then also have a meal. And so that's the concept. It's just a full market.
Yeah.
And there is a sense of freedom that comes, like Aaron you were joking a little bit, but it's actually true. When you go to a regular grocery store, when you just go out, it's oppressive to feel like you can't order more than one thing on the menu.
Especially a restaurant when everybody's enjoying their food.
Exactly, or to plan ahead like that. And at your location, not only for my birthday did I end up going there, but for New Year's Eve, I was there with Josie and with Al, because I am a flexitarian. I don't always eat vegetarian or vegan, but I do like it a lot. But you also have a lot of gluten-free products, and that made it so simple for me to shop there and enjoy what I was eating.
Yeah.
You hear, Power, we didn't get an invite.
Yeah.
You're up in Tampa doing work, doing your thing, taking off.
It's
the
very
holiday.
interesting. The reason we're going to Vegan Fine Foods next week and we're going to broadcast is we have a real commitment, America, in 2020 to show you the complexity of the LGBT community. Yep. We are passionate to say we're not any one thing. Stop doing that. And as a result, Stephen's market is a great opportunity because he is right in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and there are literally tens of thousands of gay boys and girls around him within 1 or 2 miles.
And we're like 48% vegetarian at least. Not vegan,
exactly right. And it's the way we're eating, we just don't talk about it. And we embrace it and we enjoy it and we think it's healthy, but we're not talking about it. We talk about our bars and we talk about our Absolute vodka, but we don't talk about the kind of foods that we're consuming. So it's very interesting for us. You do a Sunday jazz brunch. Tell us a little about that. That's fascinating to me for a grocery market doing it.
And we're starting to do a lot more events. And as far as the Sunday Jazz Brunch, the city of Fort Lauderdale sponsors a Jazz in the Park, in the park right across the street from our store.
Oh,
so we decided that, there are a lot of jazz lovers down there on Sundays, especially, that Sunday. And we thought, well, after that ends at 2, which is pretty early. So we have our jazz brunch until 4, so they can still come in and have some food and enjoy some more jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't that great? It's just
that sounds
fantastic.
more around my time, too.
Well,
anyways,
and speaking of your time, the other feature, besides great foods and your cafe, you have products that are all the rage in terms of THC enhanced products. You have tell us a little CBD. Thank you.
Different thing.
Right.
Clarify.
Different. Yeah. Let's
As
clarify.
Josie are like, no.
You're getting that knock at the door.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Hello. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we just started our new little CBD section. We call it Vegan Fine Herbs. And so there are all types of products that are infused with CBD, and we're adding new products every day. So yeah, that's what you saw recently.
Yeah.
And lots of people, are enjoying those products.
Yeah.
And
CBD is legal, right? Like
Yeah,
completely
CBD,
in Florida?
We'll
talk about that later.
Wait,
So when they come when they come to get somebody, get her.
Right.
Right. I hear the right. Well, we look forward to it. America, tune in next week. It's going to be a fascinating show because we're going to show you a new aspect of the LGBT community in this very interesting market that has a cafe. You can get great beverages and coffees and great foods.
And you can walk there. I think that's one of the coolest things about it. There are so few places in South Florida that you can actually walk, and that is part of a walking environment, so you can live the entire full
so Stephen, we are looking forward to seeing you next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stephen's going to be on the show with us, and so I'm sure we're going to eat really well.
Are we going to have lots of people? Oh, good. I can't wait. I'm going to come with an appetite.
Great. All right, so tune in, America, next week, and all over South Florida. Of course, we have tens of thousands of people in South Florida watching the show, and we're going to Vegan Fine Foods, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
All 10,000 of us will be
Yeah, exactly. All right, so watch us next week as we do that. Now, Stephen, have a seat there for a moment because Requel is coming back. We want to tell you other big news that is happening today, and that is with Senator McConnell. McConnell has announced that he has 51 votes to start the impeachment process. He needs no Democrats to do it, and we've prepared this for you, so watch this news.
We have the votes once the impeachment trial has begun to pass a resolution essentially the same, very similar to the 100-0 vote in the Clinton trial, which sets up, as you may recall, what could best be described as maybe a phase one. At that point, during the Clinton trial, the issue of the appropriateness of calling witnesses was addressed. Obviously, that is the most contentious part of one of these proceedings, and that'll be addressed at that time and not before the trial begins.
Well, before we start our conversation, let's make sure we understand what he is saying. The majority leader in the Senate is saying that he can, the moment he gets the articles, he can initiate the impeachment hearing, the trial of removal of the president. We already suspect we know what the conclusion of that is, but he has enough votes, even with no Democrats, to launch that. He's going to implement the Clinton rules from 20 years ago, which means he can start the process without having the decision being made on whether there's going to be testimony, and that will take place later if they decide that they want testimony to defeat Pelosi's argument. And they're using the articles of 20 years ago on the Clinton rules as justification. But remember, 20 years ago, all of the key players had already testified.
Correct.
So he's using the same rules for people that have not testified.
Well, and there weren't nearly as many eyewitnesses to the crime either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's a very funny joke that not so many people watched the Blue Dress and what went on.
Well,
so what do y'all? Yeah, exactly. What do y'all think about the news of what he has done?
Well, my question is, he said that they have the votes to start the trial without the witnesses, but can he still start the impeachment trial without the articles of impeachment?
He cannot.
That's what my question is.
He cannot. No. The articles of impeachment still must come from the House. That's the constitutional process. But this applies very specific pressure now on the Speaker of the House, Pelosi, because the Senate is ready. And that's basically why he's made this announcement. He is saying, send them because you have no other obligation constitutionally other than to send them. You do not get to set the rules, and we're using the exact same rules in this technical definition of Clinton's impeachment 20 years ago.
But is it relevant? I mean, there's apples to oranges here. We're not talking about the same.
Well, that's the entire process that we're going right now. Sex with an intern versus cooperating against being someone against our entire country. Yeah. You know, I mean, one is personal. The other is a detriment to our entire society and upbringing as a constitutional state.
The thing about this whole impeachment thing is that we really, when these rules and regulations, if you will, were written, they kind of were making it up as they go along. They're still kind of making it up as they go along. So there's no real like law or ordinance or whatever that says this is how we're supposed to handle this. It's just kind of like we don't even really know what impeachment actually means.
Your point is a bullseye, but also likely how he's going to get away with this.
Right.
Because he has the constitutional right to do this because there are no rules.
Listen,
he decides what the rules are.
And according to the are no rules, there are no rules really set for the time frame that Nancy Pelosi has to send those articles of impeachment.
So it works both ways.
Right. And you know, I was thinking about it, you know, it really, the Democrats really lose nothing. They have nothing to lose by holding on to those articles of impeachment because we all know that when she sends them, it's going to be a kangaroo court over there anyways.
It's not like we're shutting down the government.
Right.
You know?
So if she sends them, the end result is going to be the same. He's not going to be removed. If she keeps them, then they're going, I don't even know if they can start.
A quick question to your point, however. Let's say it's delayed a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We are 30-some days away from the Iowa caucus. Three of the Democratic senators that are going to be involved in this hearing in the Senate are campaigning for president. So they can't be anywhere except in that Senate chamber. Doesn't it hurt the Democrats more than it hurts Donald Trump?
Yeah, but you know what? Let's think about this too. You know, we have 2 articles of impeachment currently on the table, right? Those were the 2 that were voted. He got impeached on 2 articles. With the new information that we have with John Bolton coming to the table saying that he would testify. I mean, could we open up a 3rd article of impeachment and bring then new facts, new witnesses to the table and really blow this out of the water?
The answer is yes, but if that happened, is that a representation that we are just cycling out of control?
No, because he does something every single day that's probably worth being impeached. Every article that we can suggest forward that follows suit with the law is something that we should.
I mean, in an assassination of, a general. I mean, it's starting again. It's like just. Close your eyes.
Also like wag the dog. The wag the dog. We're doing
Did you
a
see
quick...
that movie?
Yes, I did.
America, if you haven't seen that movie, I would suggest you go back and watch it. It's called Wag the
Dog.
Dog.
Oh, that's the name.
And a fake war is created in Croatia, I believe, or somewhere, Albania, I believe. And the whole point of it is to divert from
the scandal
and election. And it's like, my goodness, it's a movie script that we're watching.
Again.
Mass distraction.
But he's very good at that.
Yeah,
right.
very good at that. All right. The only thing that, at least for tonight, on January 8th, here at our first live broadcast of in 2020, and it's happening out, is shots. I would like some shots.
Yeah, let's do that.
Can we have some
shots? Please.
By the way, did I mention any shots? Let's play our fun game called I'd Swallow
my gun
That.
and my bottle.
Yeah. Right? Okay.
Which
so
is more lethal?
here's what we're going to do. We're going to play I'd Swallow That. As you know, America, we asked 4 questions. We have shots here at the table, and I'm going to ask a question, and if you agree, you're going to pick up a shot and take it. If
How
you don't
drunk are
agree,
you trying to get us? Look at how many
you
shots
are, well, we have to give a lot because, well, first off, here's a little secret. Even if we don't consume all of them through the rest of the show, the executive director of the World AIDS Museum will be doing them all.
Wait, what? You can't say that on live TV.
Oh, wait, I didn't say
My
that.
cover is blown.
Exactly right. All right, so everybody knows the rules, right? And this is I'd Swallow That. We're ready to begin?
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. I'd swallow that. Let's go back to New Year's. I was kissing exactly the person I wanted to on New Year's Eve. I was kissing exactly the person I wanted to on New Year's Eve.
Thank you.
Sure.
No.
Okay.
Like I said, I was.
You weren't making out with yourself in the mirror?
I was standing
Yes, you
next
were.
to
I
him.
was there.
I was standing next to you.
No, I need it.
I said at our host meeting that if 3 of the people at this table didn't take that shot, we had some things to talk about. Unfortunately, all 3 of them have taken the shot.
Well, I kissed the person that I wanted to kiss, but unfortunately he was unconscious. So
Oh,
Wait.
no,
You
that's
can't say that on television.
unconscious or asleep? Wait.
Asleep.
Further
well, when you're
on.
asleep or you're not conscious, though, you know, he was basically knocked out.
You had enthusic, ongoing consent
Okay.
before that.
All right. So,
I'm
Were you
I'm
knocked
married
out?
to him, so he can't me too me.
Right.
the only person at the table that is wearing leather and unbuttoned leather didn't take the shot. So what was the New Year's Eve all about for you?
My New Year's was about camaraderie with a group of people that I like as friends. I did not even find a random hookup that was wearing all sorts of tight clothing in the middle of downtown Fort Lauderdale. I didn't even...
Hundreds of thousands of people.
There were lots of gorgeous people and a really cool event down there. We were on Las Olas for the anchor drop by that point. I did not even pull aside one of the hundreds of potentially gay or gay curious people that might have wanted to make out. I stuck to you two, and then you abandoned me to make out with your significant others. Shame on you both.
I thought you were going to say they abandoned you to make out with each other. I got nervous for a second.
So did all of America. That's the next year's secret.
And by the way, that
Scandal,
story is
right?
not
Who's it up?
completely
Q
technically true. Right, exactly. America, you are finding out right now, this is breaking news, that in hundreds of thousands of people in downtown Fort Lauderdale, no one thought Napoleon was attractive enough to kiss or hook up with.
So starting next week, we're operating our 4th show. It's called a dating game for Napoleon. If you're Bachelor number 1, 2, or 3, or Bachelorette.
Open casting again.
Open casting. All right.
If you're attractive, and
We got a lot of casting.
I know.
We got
Napoleon,
that show off.
I hate you for suggesting that because executive producer is here and production, and right now they're going, oh, wait, that could be an interesting news show to do.
Bachelor.
No, right. All right.
Every week, a new sex story.
Let's move on. Wait, what? No. All right.
It's a different show.
I'd swallow that. Let's move to question
Exactly
number
the
2.
point.
Question number 2. I'd swallow that. I'd rather... No, not until...
We don't have our shots.
Oh, well, you're only touching it if, so let's not do that.
He knows how the game's played.
We always
like
draw our
brand
shots
new.
for 3...
Have you done this before?
Al, you don't make all the rules.
For 15 months, we grab our shot first, we take it, and we have it ready to go.
Okay.
Just because you're the white man here doesn't mean you get to
My
control
God.
everything.
Oh
my goodness.
First week, and I'm called out as the privileged white guy.
no, you missed
what
me.
did I do? Okay.
I got time to make up
The
for it.
question
We have
is,
all year to prove otherwise, okay?
All right. Question number 2. I'd swallow that. I'd rather be rich than famous.
Ooh.
Gosh, that's a hard one.
Ain't hard for me, girl.
no, I think I
Oh.
All right.
I'll take somebody else's if they don't want it.
Are
feel that
we
way.
saying like rich or like Trump rich?
No, don't.
Rich.
Trump is poor.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's rich and then there's
All
like,
right.
a
You're
whole
the
lot
only
of-
one left. Are you taking it? So everybody says money is more important.
Not
than fame.
everybody. I didn't take it.
Oh, you didn't take
No,
it. You'd rather have fame.
I'd rather have fame.
Of course you would.
Yes, because with fame comes power, and I can use
Oh!
it responsibly.
Oh. Did you
I
just
can
drop a new
use my
slogan
money
on us?
responsibly.
no, but with fame you can get some money, but if you have money and you're not famous, you can't really do anything.
Paris Hilton disagrees.
Yeah.
So does
Oh.
Trump.
Paris
Once again.
who?
Well, that's true. It's 2020. Who even
85%
knows?
of the people watching us have no idea who Paris
Really?
is.
I thought most of our most of the watchers
Of
were
course,
Yeah.
they know who Paris is.
I'm not sure. All right, let's move on to question number 3. I'd swallow that. I'm more attracted to a beautiful face than a perfect body.
Sorry, plastic bags are not interesting. Well, they can be very fun, but it's a different endeavor entirely. You got to have someone who you can make eye contact with as you finish. That's part of the...
Are you still talking?
Fine. Go, Aaron Phoenix, jump in with your sex life. Go.
Aaron, I'm loving you being it. It's happening out tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
equal to
Hopefully you'll have me
question.
back. Hopefully you'll have me back again. It's been
Welcome back.
great.
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right, no, I lost track because something was droning in my ear.
We were talking about sex.
Who took the shot? Did you took the shot?
Oh yeah.
So face is more important.
I love a beautiful face, and it's
Have
because
you seen Marcy?
Yeah, hello.
That's absolutely true, Marcy. I told you that.
Yeah.
I had dinner last night with Marcy.
But it's
wait, let me get a plug in. Chef Josie has a fantastic restaurant here on Wilton Drive
true.
called Bubbles and Pearls. Had dinner there last night. Marcy is beautiful,
I know.
inside and out. She's
Yeah.
curvy and voluptuous and radiant.
Yeah. Tell me about
Yeah.
Right.
You got both on that question.
But that's the whole thing, it's like when they have a beautiful face, it's like, I like kissing, so I need like a pretty mouth, nice set of teeth, beautiful skin. I want to wake up next to you and not go, It's like,
No, ma'am.
not
for me.
No,
ma'am.
it's important.
Not for me. I would prefer both, but if I had to pick between one or the other, I would prefer a hot body than the face of an ugly mug or a slightly not so fab mug. I can deal with, but if the body ain't right, I'm just not.
Well, girl, when you're biting the pillow, you can't see their face anyway.
Say what?
When you're biting the pillow, you can't see their face anyway.
Yeah, but it's the body that I'm imagining behind it. If the body ain't right,
Girl, you and me both.
if the
Okay?
body ain't right, I don't have the face nor the body.
By the way,
if the body ain't right, my face ain't gonna be in the picture.
By the way, Power brought social media to a dead stop. It almost broke Facebook when he made this post about don't claim in sex deeper. I don't go tighter. You broke Facebook with that post. That was hilarious.
My God,
by
I
the way.
missed
Man,
that one.
I am so embarrassed for all 5 of you that have people that you're dating right now. As the single person, I can't imagine what it must be like to have all of this expose on your relationship.
Wait,
that is
do y'all hear bees buzzing again?
Blah,
Is it the
blah,
bees?
blah,
Oh,
blah,
you're right.
This is
blah,
a
blah,
hatred
blah,
for the
blah,
only
blah.
person that is out there finding their soulmate. Shame on you all.
I found mine.
This
I'm
is what happens
good.
when you get over that insecurity, That's when, you got a solid relationship. That's what that looks like.
Ooh,
Okay.
Lord.
All
All
right,
right,
we'll get
that
there.
brings us on to I'd swallow that question number 4.
Go for it.
I'd swallow that. There are some things that are too serious to joke about.
I do.
Apparently not your spouse.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I agree.
I'm not going to do that shot. Actually, I'm thinking about it. No. Too serious?
Anything child
We're gonna
welfare,
go kind of
like,
serious.
yeah.
I mean, see, that didn't even cross my
serious.
mind.
That was the
Then
question.
serious.
Yeah.
That's why I went serious.
Right. I was thinking Trump, and I'm thinking you can joke about virtually. Wait, I'm going to take the shot now.
Yeah. You can't see. This-
Yeah.
You all took the shot. What were you guys thinking of?
I think that there are certain serious conversations that you cannot make a joke on.
What popped into your head first when that was said?
Rape, child molestation. I mean, I think that people make jokes about things thinking that their humor is everybody's humor. It's not.
I'm curious to that observation. Ricky Gervais just did the Golden Globes, and he in his alter ego Twitter account, he made a lot of trans jokes, and he came under huge criticism for it.
Surprise.
And to be honest with you, many of the jokes I thought were very, very funny, but they were super inappropriate, and he got lots of criticism. There was a call to remove him from the Golden Globes and NBC and blah, blah, blah. When you make jokes, his point was, we have gotten too politically correct. Everyone knew that these were jokes, and I am not transphobic. What do you think about that as it relates to this question?
I do think that I try to keep an open mind when it comes to jokes. I'm old school, so I believe in laughing at myself. I believe in laughing at my race. I believe in laughing at my community. I am not somebody that, for example, when Dave Chappelle makes jokes, I know that some of my trans brothers and sisters get upset. I don't get upset, but I'm not in their place. I don't tell them what they should feel. I personally don't feel offended, but I do feel that there are some lines that should not be crossed, and I feel that there are some jokes that should not be. For example, for me personally, I've not heard one HIV or AIDS joke that has made me laugh that I find is funny.
You're absolutely right.
And when people try to use something that has affected our entire community in one way or another, and everybody has either known somebody or themselves might be affected, and they try to use that as a punchline. I don't find it funny, and I feel that's one area that should never be joked about.
And that word was like the key point, is the punchline. You can make it's okay to make jokes about trans people. Like, I'm going to let you all off the hook here. It's okay. We can take a joke. But I know, right? But you can't make a person in their life, a human being, the punchline of the joke. If there's a little, there's observational humor, and then there's just bullying.
It's one of the things Ellen DeGeneres is so great about in her sense of humor. It is normally self-deprecating, but in general, it is not about hitting someone at the core of who they are. It's something that is transient. And I did miss yesterday because I was sick. We can all laugh at that.
I love making trans jokes. It makes everyone around me nervous.
Yeah, buddy. Let's move out of I'd Swallow That. It's a great game in America, as we always say. Play along with us. Next Wednesday, we'll play again, and we want you to join us in the game. Let's move a little faster in terms of some celebrity hot topics. Several hot topics in the news over the holidays and currently. Topic number one is about Star Wars and this kiss that took place. Star Wars, of course, huge news. We have something for you video-wise. Watch this.
It's an instinct.
A brief kiss between two women in the new Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, was cut from the version released in Singapore. A spokesperson from Singapore's media regulatory agency tells local online media a short scene was cut from the release, but did not specify which one. The film is PG-13 for theatrical release in Singapore. Under guidelines, films containing LGBT themes may be restricted to viewers aged 18 and above, while films focusing on homosexuality may be hit with a 21 and over age rating. Sex between men remains technically illegal under a colonial-era law in Singapore, but is not actively enforced. The scene is the first same-sex kiss in the franchise's history and is hailed as historic.
So, you hear the soundbite there. In the entire Star Wars saga, it's the first same-sex kiss. That's the only reason why I think this is important. Was it a big deal to anybody?
I barely remember it. If you didn't report it and remind me that it happened, I think it just flashed in my head.
Who was the old woman?
I know. I didn't even hear it.
But I think that's what's valuable about it, is that it was a blink and miss it moment. It was just a bunch of people celebrating, and they happened to be one of the faces in the crowd.
That's an interesting.
And it was no big deal. My 12-year-old went and saw the movie, of course. And I don't even think he noticed. And it wasn't a thing of like, I wasn't paying attention. It was just, it wasn't weird to him.
Yeah. Final thoughts.
It wasn't highlighted. It meant a lot to me for them to include that in the movie, because it is a franchise that everyone sees, that everyone relates to. And I saw it, and
big
it warmed my
moment
heart.
to you because of being the nerd geek.
Yeah,
and it was important.
It warmed my heart to be seeing that with my family, and to say, okay, you're accepted into pop culture in this mainstream way.
Well, and one that has potential for a lot of toxic masculinity too.
Oh, well, that's why Rey is the main character.
Okay. All right. Next celebrity hot topic we want to talk about is something that we have already reported on, and that was the over the holidays in December, Netflix series from Brazil, Christmas special called The First Temptation of Christ. Jesus was reflected as being homosexual, and there was quite a response and a backlash and a petition to remove it. Netflix basically ignored it and said, we're going to do whatever we want, and they continued with it. Well, over the holiday, the production location for the company that did this was firebombed, and it was a situation. We're going to play some pictures of the attack that took place. But apparently gay Jesus is just too much for some people to accept. What do y'all think about what happened?
For some people, that's the thing that's too serious to joke about, I guess. But I mean, this is an response.
Also,
way overreaction.
I know that the whole is a little bit satirical, but just because Jesus is gay in it, that doesn't make it a joke. Sexuality isn't a joke, and just because someone is gay, it's not a joke just because they're portraying it that way. It happens to be a jovial format regardless, but just sexuality in itself.
You're creating art, you take the risk. And when you have your show received by a huge conglomerate like Netflix, the risk is that you'll be removed, So you create, I guess that's what art's about, right?
It got me thinking, to be honest. I have deep spiritual faith belief. And my reaction when we reported about this special, this movie that Netflix was promoting, and when this news happened and us preparing it for the show, it got me thinking about, well, what if Jesus was gay? And my reaction was, well, so what? Why would anybody care?
There are a lot of historians who have theorized that he might have been what we would now today consider gay. But it's religious dogma, if you will, is one of those things that's like untouchable, that you can't insult or whatever. Yeah. And, like you said, Josie, it's art. And there's that saying that art disturbs the comfortable and comforts the disturbed. This obviously disturbed some people's comfort zones. And, I haven't seen it. Maybe there was some really deep message out of that parody. I don't know. But, art is art. And if you can't handle it,
I personally think that people would have gotten upset even if they didn't premise this on Jesus being gay. Just the fact that it was made into a comedy and the Jesus character, even if he wasn't out and out gay, but just acting the way he acted would have gotten people upset. People are very, very, countries and nations go to war for hundreds of years when it comes to religion. It's a very personal thing. So any type of deviation from what you know and respect as your Lord and Savior is going to get people upset.
I have participated and heard loud and clear, and I have participated in conversations so many times of Christians condemning Muslims and being fanatical of their belief. In your summary, it just washes over me. Well, what's the difference in the fanaticism?
There is no difference. That's why I just said nations go to war for hundreds of years over their religion. There's really no difference. But, the creators had to have expected this.
Yeah. Sure. Let's move out of celebrity and move into our headlines. And we have several this week that are really important. First, we return back to House Speaker Pelosi. And she has criticized the strike on the Iranian commander. We've talked about this at the top of the show. But her criticism very specifically is how notification took place in the House and Senate. Oh. And interestingly enough, days before, she has been criticizing the notice since the attack on the general, the assassination of the general, about notification and the justification to the House and to Congress in general. Today, that took place. The briefing to House and Senate leaders took place just today. What do y'all think about her criticism of what went on?
I think if and she's not the only one. She came out and said something, and actually on the other side of the aisle, Rand Paul came out and said,
which we showed at the top,
said something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think if Congress has such an issue with this, then Congress has the power to fix it, because truth be told, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution says Congress shall have the power to declare war. However, it provides no format for what exactly is considered a declaration of war.
We haven't gone to war since Vietnam when it was televised. We have not gone to unless I'm wrong, please correct me.
We have gone to war. We have gone to war. I mean,
declared war
for example.
Okay,
we've gone to war. Declared war is different from an actual war. We know that what we've been in Afghanistan for how many years, the longest wars that we have fought is in Afghanistan or the Gulf War, but it hasn't been declared because there is so much room within this whole, well, what is a declaration of war? Is it 17 or 18 years in Afghanistan? Is that an actual war? Is the Gulf War an actual war? Is a strike on this general in Iran a declaration of war? Nobody has outlined that. So I think Congress needs to really solidify what they consider an act of war.
Well, this comes
instead
back
of just
to
complaining about it.
Comes back to what I was saying before, that they don't really, this stuff is kind of, we're making it up as we go. When, senators, whatever leaders back then, the 1973 War Powers Resolution. They didn't write that with the thought in mind that maybe Trump one day might, come in and kick over all the Lego blocks and ruin everything. They put these things in place, these rules in place with very vague language. Things like the word justified or necessary and proper. What does that mean? What's necessary to protect the country? But we don't really have that defined. And then when it comes down to, okay, well, who should make the decision? It gives that power to the president. And unfortunately, they kind of did it with we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, and didn't know there was going to be a troll at the bridge when we got to it.
Oh, and that's the problem. The Constitution is a living, breathing document, and it is meant to be able to go with what's going in the world. Nobody expects people to not follow the rule of decency. And so when you don't follow those things like Trump or like anybody else, you sit there and then you go, well, oh my God, why would you thought somebody would have done something like this? Right. You can't always look for any document to be the end-all, be-all for anything.
I'm curious in terms of that's a very optimistic approach. I'm curious about optimism of the table. That observation basically puts really our government, our republic, front and center. Do we value the living nature of a constitution that allows so much interpretation, or do we feel like we have to lock it down so vigorously that there can be no interpretation to prevent Donald Trump's? Or do we keep a constitution that is enduring for the entire republic for hundreds of years?
Or isn't that what amendments happen? Amendments are done for that.
Right. Do we need to add an amendment of decency? And do we have to spell it out that that's a part of our core value and principles of the country?
Well, and that's kind of what we do is we feel it out, and then when we discover, maybe we need a rule here, it's kind of like, don't eat the do not eat packets you get in your pocket. Yeah. Nobody had to write do not eat until somebody decided to eat it.
Which, interestingly enough, is what civil rights has been about women's right to vote has been about gay marriage and LGBT rights and marriage has been all about. I'm going to move on to a second headline tonight, and that is about our hookup in social media, Grindr. A horrific story has taken place over the holidays about a hookup that really went wrong in Grindr, a kind of anonymous hookup, and the suspect has been arrested in just the last couple of days for murder and cannibalism in a Grindr hookup. We have a video to show you about that. Watch that.
Neighbors are speaking out tonight about the Morris area man police say killed a 25-year-old. Mark Lantusky was charged with open murder and mutilation of a human body. This happened yesterday after police found the body of Kevin Bacon in his home over the weekend.
A gentleman pulls into my driveway and gets out of the truck, and he's wearing the same type of getup that this kid is wearing, which is a leather skirt and these leather belts and no shoes, no shirt, and it's really cold out and very strange.
That was his first run-in with this neighbor accused of killing and mutilating the body of 25-year-old Kevin Bacon. On Saturday, police found Bacon's body at Latunsky's home.
It's just mostly shock and awe that something like this could happen in our small town.
Well, we all joke, we all love, the world participates in these kind of apps, and of course Grindr being at the top. What do you think? Of course, this is an aberration event. But what do you think in terms of safety, or does this call into question anything that we should be paying attention to?
Listen, as the person at the table who used to be a sex worker, this is kind of an everyday fear that we live with. When you are, when you don't know, the internet has brought us great things. It's also brought us some scary things. When you don't know who's on the other side of that screen, you are, you're leading yourself into a situation where you could be hurt. You could be way worse. And I know when I used to go meet with clients, I would always text somebody, whether I knew they were awake or not, hey, this is the address I'm at, just in case someone doesn't hear from me. Again, somebody needed to know my last location. This is not at all to put any blame on, of course, on the victim. But reminds us all, I think, to be extra vigilant about this sort of thing and having some kind of safety measures in place.
It's not about blame on Kevin Bacon at all, but the leather community, the kink community, the fetish communities are pretty small. There are over 60 people that I have in friends in common with the plaintiff or with the defendant that was the murderer in this context on Facebook.
Wait. I'm going to ask you to re-clarify that because I don't think necessarily your words were as clear as what you wanted to say.
It was pointed out to me that the murderer in this story has over 60 friends in common with me on Facebook because the leather, the fetish, the kink communities are really tight.
So you mean cross friends in Facebook or other social platforms? You have 60 friends that were friends with this person.
And this is exactly the kind of story that makes it impossible for people like you that have a second coming out as trans, or even for me, which isn't as big of a deal, but in the kink community, having to express to other people that your sexuality is something a little bit different than what other people come to identify as normal, or that it is more extreme. And these are the types of stories that made people associate being gay with being a pedophile, or being a leather or being kink with being extremist, perverted, and wanting to hurt other people, because they don't go at all hand in hand. I have my family watching this show today that must be terrified thinking that this is a representation of the community of which I proudly wear my leather, because he is somebody that is willing to be a dom, be a master in a scene where he has absolutely no right to. I don't know what kind of conversation went on between Kevin and the defendant of what was going on or how they came to that. But the leather and kink scenes are about trust, honesty, communication, and respect. And while I don't know what went into this scene, it's very clear that this is a dom that had absolutely no idea or took it to his own personal level. Just like any other relationship, we have to make sure that we're dealing with people that are of a sane mind. And
clearly,
that's not what this was.
Clearly, when it moved to cannibalism, there is
exactly
there's sanity
a
issues.
Completely different level. But I think that, to your point, this is not an aberration. I think that at that level is aberration. But any day anybody goes on to any of the apps or goes on a date specifically, you have absolutely no idea. If you are working in the sex trade, then you're not safe all the time. You don't know who's going to be coming to you.
You know what taught me to be safe on apps like this as an escort was the years that I lived as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised as a young girl to carry my keys between my fingers just in case someone attacked me, and to leave my phone, or to leave my address, my location with somebody nearby, or to have a phone number written in Sharpie on the inside of my arm if I was going on a date or something.
I'm curious. I want to platform
That's how I
one.
learned.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. You do that.
And this is for Napoleon, and I want to say that in October, I don't know what year. Well, two men was with this guy, and they both fled his house. One called 911 in October, I don't know what year, and then another in November fled only wearing a leather kilt. But both of them declined to press charges.
Oh, wow.
Is that something that you can actually see? Is that something that would be common, that people would go through this type of fetish or this type of sex, get so scared, get so abused that they would flee in terror, but then still not want to, as we say in the street, snitch?
Absolutely. And not just because, just like men that are raped don't want to report it because of a sense of ego or for whatever goes on in that case. There's a lot of reported issues because a lot of kink play is technically illegal. So you don't want to report it because people that participate have fears of what the repercussions will be in their lives, thinking that the scene or whatever happened between those people and the defendant is potentially not nearly as bad as the legal repercussions.
You're clearly emotionally responding to this, which I wasn't aware that this was going to be the case. Do you have any recommendations for someone that is in this scene? They're going on to Grindr, participating in this way. Is there something that you would specifically recommend that is, you say, I know your mother and your sister, them watching in Baltimore right now. Is there anything that the community that you would recommend that increases safety?
I have a couple of points. First of all, we are participants in a global community that undermined sexual expression as if it's not, when it is a de facto lens through which everything we do is identified in the world. Every part of how we experience the world as an LGBTQ, the Q being the prominent part, is a part of our sexuality. Everything we do is a part of our sexuality. And so if you can more freely express your sexuality, if you can embrace who you are and what you really want in any kind of play, then you don't need to resort to a type of back alley abortion, which is essentially the equivalent of what this is. The second and third things I stated before are trust, honesty, communication, and respect, which are important tenets to any kind of scene play that you do, and also safe, sane, consensual, which not everyone abides by. I've had people that have asked me to castrate them or to be burned alive. That's different than a sane mind and consensual play in that. They have no direct relation to the kink.
I want to come back. We're going to close this conversation in a moment, but I want to come back to the combination of your observation and your observation when you were a woman and what you were trained to do. One of the things when I hear stories like this that I'm always moved to try to understand in the LGBTQ plus community is this seems to be something that is can potentially be a much more significant issue among men and not women. Both are in the same community of LGBTQ, but you don't hear this among women in our community where you hear it frequently to the percentage of what it is. This is not an overwhelming issue among men. What's the difference going on between gay men and gay women?
Well, there's the primary thing, I think, and the core of a lot of the shit we see in the world today is toxic masculinity. And that being raised in that culture of violence and that culture of abuse, mutual abuse, and not reporting abuse and not standing up to it, that's part of it, is the culture that boys and men are raised in. The other part of it, I don't know the stats, but I think a lot of times with women, the abuse that goes on among who are women is different. It may not look as violent. It may not look as extreme to us. It may not be as sensationalized, but it's occurring in different ways. I know that the LGBT community and gay and lesbian couples, domestic abuse, I think, Power, you brought it up a few weeks ago. Domestic abuse is a big problem in our community, just like the human community. But we don't really think about it. We don't address it because, it's two of the same gender.
Final thoughts here.
I think that women have been socialized and taught not to speak up. And when things like it's okay for women to be able to do that, men are different. So when somebody's sexually abused or raped as a woman, it then looks upon themselves to say, if I speak up, am I going to get anybody to look out for me, to help me through this? And 9 out of 10 times, as we've seen all around our country, that doesn't happen.
We all watched the Brett Kavanaugh hearing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For what washes over me to your observation, are you talking about in the LGBTQ community for women a Me Too environment? Is that what you just said?
I think the Me Too environment is in all environments, is what I'm saying.
I'm going to give you final thought if you have anything that you want to add.
I mean, So, when we're starting to talk about this, this is about we're talking about safety in all of our
endeavors.
Diversity of our community. It's a real conversation. Safety. I think that's really what is coming down to it. And as you've gotten to know me, as Aaron shares so vulnerably. I'm not a man-hating lesbian, right? But we dismiss the facts. And women have been oppressed for so long. We've been taught and we've been taught to be quiet. We've been taught to hold our emotions. We've been taught to listen. We've been taught to ask for permission. We've been taught to do that. We have been socialized in that way. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're seeing right now is a rise. And it's no longer if you're gay or straight woman. Women are starting to come together, which is a very powerful moment. Mm. And it will shift. And I think, just along those lines, it might be time for a woman to lead. And nothing against you boys, but men have had the reins for a long time. It might just be time for a woman to come in and bring that compassion and bring that nurturing spirit. Because no matter how hard we are, we're still that's just inherent. That's what we're born.
You raise children.
We raise children.
You express love, completely different. Wow, this conversation just turned completely in an unexpected way. And America, I want to make sure that I provide an exclamation point to you in terms of what you watched. I constantly, sometimes ad nauseum, say we're looking for gay culture and we're trying to find if there's gay community. This conversation here, we've gone about 13 minutes. I had no intent to do this at all, but it moved to one place, it moved to a different place, it moved to a different place, it moved to a different place. Clearly, there's a lot here. Clearly, there is a lot here. It doesn't even wash over me. I know this was a horrendous act over the holidays, but nothing like what y'all brought to my attention. I hope, America, you're listening loud and clear, and you're sharing It's Happening Out, because frankly, I don't know in the first week of 2020 if there's ever been a conversation like what you just watched in the last 13 minutes. And I am super proud to be even have the ability to sit here and listen to you. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Let's move into our final segment tonight before we end with a game, which is called What's on Your Mind. You've just expressed a lot of that.
I don't know what to do.
By the way, America, let me tell you something. We were going to start a new segment tonight of a little lightning round of topics called Saved by the Bell. And I'm going to ring a bell, and we're going to kind of do a flash of 90 seconds. I'm all set. But we're not going to do that tonight. I'm going to wait until next week.
When you bring your bell?
Yes. And I forgot the bell.
I love a good call out.
Right. Thanks for that, by the way, Jesse.
Perfect.
So before we play our final game, let's do our little segment that we do on What's on Your Mind. It gives you an opportunity to quick 30 seconds. So the bell is technically here. 30 seconds in terms of telling us what's on your mind. Who wants to start?
Do we play hot potato, or how does that
We're
work?
going to start with you.
All right. All right. I got the talking stick.
All right.
What's on my mind right now is just that my heart is with the people in Puerto Rico right now who are, I want to say recovering, but are still really dealing with the effects of the earthquakes that took place over the last couple of days. It's terrifying. 2/3 of Puerto Rico is once again without power. A lot of people are once again without water, and we know that our current administration is not very apt to help them out. So, my heart's with them. That's all I can
You're with
say.
Puerto Rico, and I would be remiss if I didn't say not only the hurricane, and now to your point on the earthquake, and they don't get a vote.
Well, the
Puerto Rico
earthquake,
doesn't
the damage
get a vote.
is worse than Hurricane Maria.
Exactly. Who else? What's on your mind? Who would like to go next?
I've been watching Handmaid's Tale.
Oh.
And I don't know if you guys have seen
Speaking
it.
of oppressing
let
women.
me tell you, that's a story written by Margaret Atwood in 1985, and it's crazy the parallels that it has with today's world and the unfolding of what's going on. And I don't know if that has me a little bit more on edge because I just binged through the whole process, but we have to be very careful. Our civil rights, our social rights are at liberty, are being they're being attacked.
You have an obligation. I challenge all of you. In 2020, this is our first live show of the year. You all have an obligation to raise your voice to help propel us to the point where you just did. That's the value of It's Happening Out. Who else? What's on your mind?
I'm going to follow up on that and say that what's on my mind is the state of our country. And it's been proven every day that we're descending into something that is scary. Whether we talk about women's rights, gay rights, or we talk about how we're treating one another, it is continually getting to a different level that I can't even imagine. How do we change it without everybody stepping up?
I echo, and once again, I take the opportunity. We are so proud of It's Happening Out TV. Q News Tonight, Happening.Fun, to be here and partnering with this woman at the World AIDS Museum. This is hallowed ground for our community.
Raquel has a name, by the way.
Raquel. Well,
Yeah.
of course, I didn't say
I
that.
thought that you did.
I think I did say Raquel. Aaron does that.
I heard this woman, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for that. But
well,
I appreciate that.
Are you
Been
all
there,
finished?
so, I know, yeah.
Please let the privileged white guy continue. One thing that I have to say to you, we're very proud of our association with the World AIDS Museum. It's going to be a great year. We're going to challenge exactly your observation here. And one of the things that I will tell you the proof of that, you can conquer one person at a time. The first show of 2019, I did not sit at this table, at that point, panel of chairs, with It's Happening Out panelists and think about the world the way I do now. I'm sitting at this table. Of course, Napoleon's a good friend of mine, but I'm sitting with a trans person and a black woman and a black man and a lesbian. Of course, you're a lesbian too.
All these labels out. Oh my God.
But the labels are important. And the reason is because the labels are designed to help us all understand we're really all the same thing.
That was music to my ears.
And
You're the same as Alex.
What's happening out is different because it's had that effect on me. I couldn't say this a year ago. Now we've got to get about 75 more million and about 3 more million and about 14,000 voters LGBT in Florida.
Journey of 1,000 miles starts working.
And so that was what was on your mind? That was way more than 30 seconds. But I will follow up on that. So I have a very big, outspoken voice, especially on social media, as we all know. But I'm sick and tired of talking about it and not being about it. So I have decided that I want to put action to use, and I'm going to start doing a series of events, dance parties that are also doubling as voter registration drives.
Yes,
And-
I'm with you.
Yes, and I am partnering with another outspoken activist, a drag activist named Catherine Nevitz, and the first one is going to be at Parliament House. We are partnering with the legendary Darcel Stevens, and that is going to be at Parliament House March 1st. And then we already have booked up all over Central Florida at different venues in different cities. And we're calling it Pump to Vote.
Yes,
I like that.
The drag.
There's
with
this
drag
little
power.
show on Monday nights at 8 o'clock called Happening.Fun, and I would suggest Around Florida segment get incorporated in that event.
I think that
we
would
would
be
be loving to do that.
Yes.
And Napoleon, we finished with you on what's on your mind.
Yeah, I planned on talking about Australia and the fires that are going on there and all of the devastation, but my mind is still reeling from the Grindr conversation we were having before. And what's really hitting me and what's on my mind is how much I take for granted. We're joking with Al about being a privileged white guy, which is a card I've been able to play a lot of my life as a young, blonde, privileged white guy in a lot of ways. I've always identified myself as being outcast, as being a vegetarian, as being Wiccan, as being whatever is outside. But I am de facto, when people see me, third time I've said that tonight, something that people say can take it for granted. And I'm not using my voice strongly enough. I'm not using my advocacy for sexual openness, for human rights in the way that I would want myself in the future to have done. And that can't be the case in 2020. It has to be the time for change.
There's our challenge. All of us have challenges ahead that we're going to help propel our broad LGBTQ plus community. We finish It's Happening Out tonight, our first show of the year, with a game we like very much. Of course, let's talk about who we're going to shag and who we're going to marry and who we're going to chop. We're playing our favorite game tonight, and all of the hosts here at It's Happening Out are going to do it. Tonight, we're doing YouTube personalities. There is such a thing as YouTube personalities. So let me introduce them to you. Mario Adrian, I believe, is his name, and we're going to show you his picture.
Well, that must be who you're shagging because you can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
and
cute.
Yeah, cute is exactly the word.
Yeah. And that is
He has a hard
Mario.
body.
And then Mike Thurston.
Oh, we're on.
And that's Lazar. And then and also Mike Thurston.
See why they're YouTube famous? Okay.
Yeah.
We're in some order.
So that's all three. Now we're going to put them all
I didn't
together.
know which one was one and two.
Yeah, you're going to see all of them together. We'll show those to you now. Our game Shag, Marry, Chop is you're telling us who you would shag and who you would marry, and then who would you chop. Who would like to start?
Can anyone tell the difference?
I
Because
can't.
I mean, yes.
That's my joke.
We talked about face and
I mean, what
body
do they
tonight.
do, anyways?
They
post
influence.
their abs
they post.
online.
They post. Yeah.
They move real slow and bulging like.
They eat bananas. You would be surprised on YouTube how many views you can get, depending on who you are.
All right, let me just jump in here,
All
okay?
right, all right.
I'm shagging Mike, okay? Because he's a world traveler. We'd have a lot of fun. He just looks like fun. I'd marry Mario because he's all peaceful and zenning out there on the beach and doing yoga. I can get down with that. And Mr. Lazar, although he looks too much like a meathead, and I'm like, oh.
Oh, no, Power and I are.
I was like, there is.
It'd be like,
Yeah,
ooh,
wait.
you know, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, and speaking of that, since we're talking about it, Power, tell us who you're shagging.
Okay, so in order, I would shag Mike because he does look like he's has a lot of fun. He looks like I could take him to a circuit party or a club.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And
You shag someone and take them to
circuit party. Right, I'm gonna show him off. I would probably marry the other child. What's his name? Mario.
Really?
Yeah,
You're gonna chop Lazar?
I mean, no,
Yeah,
I would.
no,
I
marry
would
Lazar.
marry the other.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
can't see.
Yeah.
The Czar person. I would.
Lazar,
I would marry him.
Middle guy.
And the Mario child, he actually looks a little maybe too
White?
childish. No, not white, but he looks a little too childish.
I like
for
him
me.
young.
So yeah, I think
Oh my God.
he'd have to get the chop.
Somebody else who we marry?
I'll start.
All right. Well, just go around the table then.
Let's do it that way. I
hope your wife right now is watching closely.
We've already been through this the last time I did this, And is it
You're shagging.
shagging?
First off, Requel, you know what shag means, right?
Yes, I do. I actually do. Do I have to say that I'm not a gold star lesbian?
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway,
Okay.
I would definitely see. I'm going to do it. Shag.
This is why you're a lesbian.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd probably shag Lazar. I would marry Mike.
Why
and I would,
marry him versus Lazar?
Well, because we'd be going all over the world together.
That, by the way, is in Italy, right off of Capri.
All of these scenes were shot in the same place.
Yeah.
He's not actually traveling.
I
It's all
know.
an illusion.
Exactly. But in my illusion, Mike and I would be going all around the world.
Yeah.
That's valid.
Mario,
Not so much.
not quite.
Well, you don't have to get out of bed with him.
No, that's true.
Yeah. And you would chop the
I'd
last
chop,
one.
yeah, I'd chop.
Okay. Aaron?
Well, I got to see the rest of them again.
You've been watching them for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but they were side by side, and now I have ADD. I get very, very confused.
Oh,
All right,
look at
so I'm
that
going. I was
picture.
gonna say, see, this sucks. I was gonna say I would. I was gonna
Not
say
yet,
I would
that's
shag.
what you said.
I was gonna say I would shag Lazar, and because he's got a sexy face, but then he has like
Face?
too
Who's
much.
looking at his face?
The guy in the middle, it's the face for me because he's got too much muscle, like too much. Like that right there, that thing on your shoulder. Like, what is that? That's like an extra.
That's wrapping up in protection.
Yes.
I ain't looking for protection.
Hello.
Listen, the only protection I need is the condom. Okay, first of all. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to say this is crazy. I'm gonna have to say shag Mario.
Okay.
He's not my type, which is probably why I'm like curious.
Oh, rejection.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Angry.
He looks like yoga. He's like flexible, probably.
Okay.
Mary, definitely Mike. He's cute. He's got a cute smile. He looks
He is
fun.
cute.
And
Love
then
his
I
hair.
guess I'm gonna have to chop Lazar because I can't get over this. What is that?
Veins are just popping out.
Yeah,
It's like-
no,
he's
now
even
what?
making a face is like, ooh.
America, you're getting ready to learn the difference between Aaron and Napoleon.
There we
Listen
go.
carefully.
There we go.
Listen carefully. Shag.
I would shag Lazar because
No question about it.
There's no explanation.
Napoleon wants to be
Here,
Lazar.
you're blushing. Hold on.
I'm probably bright red.
I think he's drooling a little bit.
If I have any liquid left,
Give
it's
him a
definitely not
bone.
from my mouth.
Oh my God.
Yes, Captain. And one and done with him is probably enough. I would marry Mike because I've followed him on YouTube for a while. He's given
have you?
some really good tips in terms of just lifestyle or workout tips. I mean, the video here.
He also
tells
went
you
to
too.
school
Look
with
at
Lady
his
Gaga.
ass.
Oh, he also went to school with Lady Gaga and Madonna and whoever else. then I would chop Mario.
So average. Just so average.
Well, he looks like he's from 1990. Like, I mean, I'm looking at this video and I feel like I'm watching someone as if I were a child, and I feel all sorts of ways about that.
Just, I'm
so
curious, as we do this Shag, Marry, Chop. Do any of you feel a little dirty that we are objectifying men?
No.
This way?
No.
No.
This is what they want. That's why they're on YouTube and they're famous.
Yeah.
You're welcome for getting you in front of 600,000 extra people. Lazar, Mike, Mario. Thank us on your post and tag us. In
I feel a kind of way because for me, I like to be the one that is wanted.
Oh, child!
I knew that was coming.
Howard just says no. I think objectifying these men are terrible. Please. Turn the cameras to me.
Exactly. Objectify me.
Always.
Napoleon,
Okay.
one of my favorite things you ever said on the show. I know I don't do this often, so don't get used to it. But you made a comment about, in order to kind of reset the scales of oppression that you were talking about against women, we have to objectify men. It's not.
Oh, that's a good point. Now I'll feel better.
Equality and equity. When I said it was
while you're looking.
While I'm looking. All right, I feel better now.
All of my words.
That was backwards.
Thank
Usually
you.
it takes a white man to say something for you to understand.
Aaron Phoenix has given me permission to feel better about myself, objectifying men. Thank you very much.
We'll go
All
with
right. America, that's our first show of the year of It's Happening Out. We are done.
First show of the year, first show of the decade.
Yes, first show of the decade. We end our shows by having some food, so we'll never look like these gentlemen that we have just watched. And we bring in our host from Jet's Pizza.
Yay!
Happy New Year to you.
Year.
And we're
holy camole.
All meat with
I'm running
turbo
out of
crust.
here. I'm running out of here.
With some mushroom. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Oh, the mushrooms is a good
All right.
part.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year's to you. We love Jet's Pizza. If you're here in South Florida, you got to do it. So that there are many pizzas over there for you to do. If you're in South Florida, come Wednesday nights to the World AIDS Museum. We're broadcasting here, and it's going to be quite an exceptional collaboration. It's time for us to say goodnight, and as always, we allow our host to say goodnight. And I'm going to start with my friend Napoleon.
Oh,
Plays.
charming. I'm so put together right now. Everyone, I am riled with emotions over what potential we have in this decade, and I hope that everyone feels that same sense of potency and charge as we've expressed here tonight to really take action in our community, both to come together and really be that voice of reason and force for how we can create the changes that our LGBTQ community needs to see. Remember to do that with a light heart and to play every day, every way as you embrace the world.
Absolutely. And Napoleon, the show is almost over, so you can button up your shirt now.
And until the next time where we get a dating show on, I have not lost that.
Also, in fairness, you're always riled with emotions.
True. And to my
break the
friend,
gender stereotypes.
back with us, Aaron Phoenix.
Well, good night, gender fuckers. And there's a place for everybody somewhere. Labels, they can be obnoxious, but they are our power. They're our autonomy. They're our sense of identity. Embrace yours.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I talk in boxes.
Especially you. I mean, I know you're very marginalized.
Yes, exactly. And
I don't even know what to say to that. But I also like what, if anybody watched Soul Train, peace, love.
Soul Train.
If anybody watched Soul Train, like it was an obscure little show,
Well, Al.
You're making me feel like I don't think you did.
Train.
Somebody
Peace,
okay.
love.
I was raised right, unlike Napoleon. So
Hey, you would say my mom again. We're gonna get it
This is Raquel's good night. And
I wish peace and love and joy, and that when we get the point that we all live on this planet, we need to take care of this planet along with ourselves. Yeah.
Great. And my friend Power Infinity.
Well, good night, children. And, yes, it's a new year. We have a new set, but at the core of everything, ain't nothing changed. We're still going to be the world's most popular gay talk show, so everybody needs to keep it right here on It's Happening Out.
That's right. Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. And my friend Josie, Chef Josie.
Yeah, well, I like to say goodnight to all my hungry friends out there. And just want to make sure that we realize it's 2020. And though some people think that has something to do with perfect vision, some others think it has something to do with Barbara Walters. So this, tonight I just want you guys to go out there with your eyes open and create that positively abundant life. And, just keep the conversation going. Keep the conversation going and stay at our table and see you next week.
Yeah, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock.
Wednesdays at 8 o'clock.
YouTube.
When
Facebook,
was that again?
All the social platforms. America, I can say one thing that nobody else at this table can say. I can say one thing that most of our listeners can't say. My longevity of experience says that this is the most anxiety-ridden first week of a new year I have ever seen it among us, in our community here, in our state, in our nation, in our world. What that requires is total focus to make changes. 2020 is likely the most important year of our lives. Drop mic. So let's commit to that we are going to stand up. Let's commit to support Power Infinity to make the connection of music and voting registration. Let's commit to watching It's Happening Out and challenging ourselves of who you should vote. And I'm not even rejecting the Republicans. I'm saying at least get involved in terms of making the right decision and then accept the consequences of your decision in 2020. Remember, we say it all the time. Gay community is important. And if it's important to you, you're going to find it every Wednesday night this year at 8 p.m. at It's Happening Out. Good night, America.
Good night. Everybody.